Yes, hello and welcome to this little video presentation of the summary of the main changes to Traffic Control at Work Sites version 6. This was written in September 20 and they gave us a 6-month period of grace to embrace the changes, and pretty much everything that's in here now we've got to do. The old Traffic Control at Worksite manual is no longer. So we thought it'd be a good idea just to let you know exactly what it is that the changes are. So there's a couple of little things to go with this as well. One of them is there's a big TV campaign going by the Transport Association of Australia. It's your speed is our safety. It's been shown around the country, and this is to highlight and make people aware of the dangers of being a traffic controller. And that's why now there's a little fact sheet for Transport for New South Wales, and one of the biggest changes that we've had to embrace is the need to use portable traffic control devices whenever we're doing traffic control on roads over 45 kilometres an hour, which is, pretty much every road in Australia, isn't it? So that's a big part of the changes, and we're going to cover that in a different section. But if you haven't been used to using traffic lights, you can on this PowerPoint you can just click on these links as we go through, and it'll give you little hints on how to set up and use the traffic lights, and plus we cover it in more depth as we go along. Let me just get out of the way here for a minute. There's also a couple of units of competencies that we need to get our heads around, which is part of the learning program, and that's control traffic with portable traffic control devices and temporary traffic signs, as well as position, set up and program traffic control devices, which is the subject of a later PowerPoint and assessment basically. But here's just a couple of the quick changes. Like, it's a 288-page document, so we don't want to really tell you about 288 pages because this is going to be hard enough, isn't it? But here are some of the main things. That's all we're going to talk about the next half a dozen slides, some of the main changes. So these pages 26 and 114, they talk about the new traffic control rules, specifically when you must now use portable traffic control devices and the different types of traffic control devices, and really they're traffic control lights as well as boom gates. Yeah. So I think most of the boom barrier gates, they're mainly in construction areas, on construction sites and that sort of stuff. Pages 18 and 19, they show the terms and definitions of these terms, when we must do something, when we may do something. And page 27 explains when we can actually use a manual traffic controller, a human being, which, as you know, is what we used to do all the time. But now there's some changes to that, and it's law, and we need to do risk assessments if we want to not use portable traffic control devices. And pages 86 and 88, they set out in detail the new requirements for traffic controllers, yeah? Okay, so I'll just keep going down here. Page 23 and 24, it's the beginning of section 2 in the TCAWS, and it sets out the guidelines for temporary traffic management and policies, including traffic management plans, traffic guidance schemes, they're the old traffic control plans, and new training requirements for Transport for New South Wales personnel, of which this is part of what you're doing, yeah? Pages 48, it's a very important page as it lists the mandatory and recommended controls for protection of a work area, including the work area greater than 4 weeks, long-term work, and long-term work which is less than 4 weeks, and continually and frequently changing work areas. Always a bone of contention for council guys and transport fellows because, when we're moving along, doing mobile work, or we're grading, or we're mowing, in 2 kilometre stretches, or grading in 10k stretches, that's a continually and frequently changing work area, and there's some different rules have come into play, so we need to have a look at that. And also, the speed zone selection criteria. There's actually a new speed zone in there now, 30 kilometres an hour. And these pages, 58 to 62, they explain the selection criteria for choosing a particular speed zone, when and where to implement them, And the conditions including the repeater signs, conflicting signs, the start and end zones, and minimum length of the zones as well. As you know, like on a 40 kilometre speed zone, that can only be 500 metres long. That hasn't changed. So section 3 of the tour of the traffic control at work site, pages 31 to 36, discuss in detail the traffic management planning process around, past or through the work site, and considerations when putting together a traffic management plan as well as a traffic guidance scheme. Often now we have to do both, a TMP as well as a TGS, and it tells us when we need to do that. Appendix A in the manual provides you with templates for the temporary traffic management planning, and they're located on pages 186 to 196, and it'd be a good idea for you to get familiar with these, because that's quite a big change compared to the old ones that we've been used to. Yeah. Pages 196 to 102 are templates for traffic guidance schemes as well as risk assessments. So if ever you felt the need that you weren't able to use traffic controls or portable traffic control devices, you need to get into pages 196 to 202 and risk assess your way out of it, basically. Okay, so section 4 of the traffic control at work site is inputs into a traffic management plan, including the types of work, and they're now classified as static work, dynamic work, short-term or long-term work. Remember the old ones were mobile, etc. They're all part of dynamic now, along with intermittent work. And also there's been a bit of a movement in signs. Section 6 and 6.5, traffic control signs, pages 92 to 113. They illustrates the type of signs and the taper lengths, the sign sizes and the placement of cones and bollards, the duplication of signs, multi-message signs. So that's new for us in New South Wales. I think they've had them in Queensland for a while. But there's a whole couple of pages in there between 92 and 113 which details the multi-message signs. You can have 2 signs on the one, but there's also some restrictions, such as you can't put them up on roads greater than 65 kilometres per hour. Yeah, so that sort of limits us to the pretty much suburban areas, and some requirements for specific signs. So because these are all changes, these are some of the things that you need to get your head around. So just to make sure you've got your head around it, when you do the assessment, you just simply need to click on this link to take you to the assessment. And I'll have a little click on it now and see how we go with that. I need to get into slideshow. I'll just maybe maybe it ended when I was on a good thing. Let's have a look. Okay, here we go. So this is what the assessment's going to look like, fellas and ladies. It's just a couple of little questions in there, about half a dozen, and so you just click on that link and it takes you to it, basically. Yeah, so you go through and see down there where it's got your email address. Just make sure you put your email address in there, send it back to me, it'll tell you where to send it, and then we'll just send you the results and we'll go on to the next one. So good luck, and I'll talk to you later on. Bye for now.